I always say a dry suit is not a warm suit, it's simply a dry suit.
Here's the gist of what's going on. First of all, full disclosure, I'm in a vehicle with a Band-Aid stuck onto my uniform shirt because, surprise, I'm in Washington. Work trip to Washington for 6 weeks. Lots going on with that, but we can't get into that, hence this Band-Aid. But while here, why the heck not do some diving, obviously. And for that, I needed a dry suit ASAP, reached out to my buddies at scuba.com. They got me a dry suit sent over right away. It's waiting for me already, actually. In order to do that, I reached out to April here, gave me all the knowledge and info on dry suits.
More than you bargained for.
Well, I asked one simple question and I was met with probably 15 paragraphs of voice note information. And I said, we need to put this into a easy to digest form factor for the internet. Take it away.
So when you're looking at buying a dry suit, kind of your biggest first option is, are you going to go the neoprene route or are you going to go the trilam route? Trying to decide, do I want the thicker neoprene shell or do I want something thin like a trilam suit? I always say a dry suit is not a warm suit. It's simply a dry suit. So it's all about what you wear inside of the suit that keeps you insulated. So with a trilam suit, it has zero insulation. It's essentially a dry bag that you're diving inside of. So it's all about the thermal layers that you wear underneath. With a neoprene suit, the neoprene itself does have some thermal characteristics. So it will keep you a little bit warm, but you still need to layer underneath. Typically with a neoprene dry suit, a lot of people get kind of this idea that they want to steer clear of neoprene because traditionally neoprene is more buoyant. And of course, as divers, we're always trying to cut down on our lead. Now with neoprene, there are two types of neoprene that you can get into. You can either get into a foam neoprene suit. So this would be the comparable neoprene that you would have in your wetsuit. Or there's crushed neoprene, which is essentially where they would take 7 millimeters of neoprene and compress all of the air out of it down to about 4 millimeter or maybe 2 millimeter. And then that is less buoyant because they've pre-compressed the air out of it. My argument with the trilam neoprene for buoyancy is I have dove both and I needed so many more layers underneath my trilam suit. I found that I was just as buoyant, if not more, than I am in my neoprene suit. Traditionally with a neoprene dry suit, you are taught to still control your buoyancy with your BCD and simply just remove that suit squeeze when diving it. Whereas trilam, they train you to use just your suit itself to control your buoyancy. Now myself, I dive a 4 mil crush neoprene suit and I just use my suit to control my buoyancy. I believe if you're weighted properly, you really don't need that much lift until you're getting to kind of deeper depths where you might need to put something in your wing. There are 3 different types of seals. Our first type of seal, which I think is the most common, is latex seals. So these are seals made out of latex, tight to your neck, on your wrists. Kind of some pros and cons. Con would be that they can rot, especially if you're storing your suit in the wrong place. So a lot of times people take them out after the winter and their seals are all rotted and sticky or dried out and cracking. And of course, some people are allergic to latex. So that is obviously another con. Pros to the latex is that typically they're really tight, so they make a good seal. They're fairly easy to replace. You just glue them right onto the suit. The second type of seal is a neoprene seal. So you'll see push-through neoprene wrist seals as well as neoprene neck seals. Myself, I'm a huge fan of the neoprene neck seals. They're so much warmer because they, again, are insulated, made out of neoprene. You have to make sure that you fold the seal in to create the seal. If you don't fold the neck, you will completely flood when diving with a neoprene neck seal. The neoprene wrist seals, the push through, My con with those is I find they never give you a great seal. I find most people diving with a neoprene wrist seal end up getting a little bit wet up until their elbows just because nothing is fully sealing and you can't attach a dry glove system to a neoprene wrist seal. Our third type of seal is silicone seals. So these would be most comparable to the latex seals. The benefit is, of course, if you do have a latex allergy and you use the silicone seals, it's a great option. However, there is no type of glue that sticks to the silicone seal. So all silicone seals are installed in a ring system. So you would have a ring system in your neck and on your wrists where the seals are pressure fit into the suit. Not every dry suit they make is going to come with a custom option. However, there are lots of manufacturers who do offer a custom option. And this is something that a lot of times people come in and they say, do I want a custom fit dry suit? What do I do? And typically, I start out just by looking at the size chart because if you're someone who is very stock size, there's really no reason why you wouldn't just get a stock size dry suit. However, if you don't have maybe a traditionally stock size body, maybe you have wider hips or wider shoulders, it might make sense for you to get a custom suit and then it's properly fitted. When picking a dry suit size, sometimes it is a little bit more complicated than you might think, and it's all about the environment that you're kind of intending on using your dry suit for. And I find this especially with neoprene suits because neoprene suits are designed to have a more snug fit than a trilaminate dry suit. The neoprene fits a little bit looser than a wetsuit, but not super far off. So it gives you less room for layers underneath. However, for myself here in Nova Scotia, our water temperatures in the winter, I'm going to use Celsius here, but well, let's just say this, they're below freezing. So I know I really need to layer up, even though I have a neoprene dry suit. So I have an Aqualung Blizzard Pro. And if I look on the size chart, my measurements fall under a small. However, I ordered myself a medium because that allows me to wear a lot of layers underneath. I also have a Fourth Element Halo 3D, which is basically their warmest undergarments they make. And I'm still able to fit that underneath my Blizzard when I need to for ice diving or anything like that, and I have the space. However, if I went with a small, it would fit me great with lighter kind of base layers, and if I was diving in water down to, here comes Celsius, 10 or 12 degrees, I would be totally fine. However, when I'm getting closer to that freezing point, that's when my bigger fitting kind of dry suit to allow that layering really comes into play.
With the dry suit, you also have a little bit more wiggle room with sizing because it is a baggier fit.
With a dry suit, exactly, you have that wiggle room where a little bit of space is good. And also your body heats the air inside of the suit, and that's what's keeping you warm. So like how in a wetsuit, your body heats that water to keep you warm, your body's heating the air inside the suit to keep you warm. So you need to allow enough room for airspace for your body to warm it up in order for the suit to work properly.
Well, let's also talk about price range of dry suits.
Yeah, so I'm here in Canada, so I'll be speaking in Canadian dollars.
Oh yeah, you guys are going to be on your own for doing conversions there.
You're going to have to do some conversions, but if you're in the US, just know it's basically half price. Kind of our most entry-level dry suit we have would be the Bear Aquatrek, and that one starts out about $1,700. From there, really, you can go very, very high end. I know some dry suits that are $6,000. So there is just a huge skew, kind of a range of where you can find yourself on this dry suit kind of spectrum. However, I am a strong believer that you do not have to buy the $5,000, $6,000 dry suit to get a good suit. My suit I have is definitely lower range. It's like a $2,400 dry suit, which isn't cheap, but it's not $6,000. And as an instructor, as someone who does about 200 dives a year, it does everything I need it to. I've had it for 3 years now. It's held up really well. So I do think sometimes maybe you're paying a little bit for the name, you're paying a little bit for some cool cool accessories to have your name typed on your pocket. And if you want to do that, that's great and good for you. But I'm just saying you don't have to. Yeah, we can talk zips, back zip versus front zip.
Brass zippers versus plastic zippers.
Zippers. This is a big one. So first of all, there's two types of zips. We have our plastic zippers and our brass zippers. Now, something very interesting is no matter what dry suit you buy, if it has a plastic zipper or a brass zipper, that zipper is made by the same company. T-zip plastic zipper is in every dry suit zip there is. So sometimes people will be like, oh, well, I would never buy that Hollis suit with the plastic zipper because mine leaked. So I'm only buying Santee from now on. Well, joke's on you because they're all the same zipper. So it really doesn't matter. There is only two zipper manufacturers putting in these zips for the suits. So they're all the same. So with your plastic zipper, it is a plastic zipper. Traditionally, they open and close a little bit easier. When it comes to waxing your zip, you only wax the ends. You wouldn't wax the entire zip. You have to make sure they're fully seated in the bottom. Then there's also brass zippers, which would be the more traditional zipper. These ones, you have to wax the entire zipper, take really good care of them. They can be more stiff. This is not scientifically proven, but I personally have found that brass zippers have held up better for me. So with my suit, I do have a brass zipper. It does need a bit more love and care to maintain it and keep it opening and closing nicely, but that's kind of what I found. Now, there's also back zip and front zip suits, or you'll hear them called self-entry. So the back zip goes kind of from shoulder to shoulder across your back. You need your buddy to zip you in unless you can create some sort of mechanism to pull it across. But they are typically stiff, and I think that's a good way to break your zipper. So traditionally, back zip, you need somebody to zip you in. The front entry zips from kind of your shoulder down to your hip. So you're able to zip yourself into that one yourself. One thing I have found with front zip, because I have dove both styles of suits, is there's something, and maybe it's kind of being a bit more narrow in the shoulders as smaller female, but I find it's busy in the front. So having my zipper behind me, I've just found has left my front feeling very clean and less restrictive, I suppose. It's also way easier, aside from not being able to zip yourself in, for donning and doffing the suit. So the front entry, typically they can kind of get hung up on your shoulders. It's a bit more awkward to get over your head, whereas the back zip entry is easier for on and off.
So all these things considered, I went with the Scuba Pro Exo Dry, crushed neoprene, latex, wrist and neck seals, women's dry suit. Part of that had to play into the fact that I needed it immediately, so it had to be something that was in stock. I think it'll be fine for what I need. I think it'll be
a great choice.
I think it'll be a great choice. All right.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors when you're looking at a dry suit of what to consider. I mean, I could talk about this for 4 hours, but I won't. But feel free to call me.
Yeah, I was like, call April at Torpedo Rays in Nova Scotia, Canada.
We'll talk dry suits for hours, but I mean, you talk about what to wear on your feet. Do you want socks? Do you want integrated boots? What kind of boots? What kind of fins are you going to wear with your suit? Can you wear a plastic fin? Do you need a rubber fin? Pockets, anything, dry glove systems. There's so many avenues we can go. But I think ultimately your most basic choice when making a decision on your suit is the first question you need to ask yourself is neoprene trilaminate.
All right. Well, I think that's what I need to know. I'll be getting in the pool on Saturday.
Woo!
To do my dry suit orientation.
Oh, I'm excited for you.
Try and schedule dives from there. Thanks so much, April.
I'll talk about dry suits with you anytime.
Appreciate you.
Yep, appreciate you too.
Okay,
bye. Bye. How is my geeking out on dry suit?
Literally.
It's like I do this for a living in a cold water dive shop. It's crazy.
That's why I reached out to you.
And then you'll come to Nova Scotia and dive with me.
That's right.
So excited. Maybe an ice course this winter.
Yeah, ice. Well, I don't know about this winter. So the Women's Dive Day event up in Nova Scotia really pops off, and I want to be there for it.
We have a lot of fun. Maybe next year, July, I'll see you there.
Yeah, maybe that'll be my 30th birthday, so maybe.
Oh my gosh, what a way to bring it in.
I was thinking more Fiji originally, but
Well, what's Nova Scotia?
Nova Scotia, same thing.